Okay, here we go. Well, welcome. Thank you for joining us today, whether you're on with us live and want to ask questions or chitty chat in the chat, or if you're catching the recording. We are really excited to have you here today. We know even though this is a free workshop, that your time is really valuable. And so we're thankful that you're here to learn and here to really understand the importance of sleep. And maybe it was the title that caught your eye, because I know a few years back, I was in such a frustrated place with my health, even being a health coach. And the last thing that I really thought that it could be was my sleep. But it really, truly is the missing link in fat loss, mood, and hormone health. So that's what we're here to talk about today. My name is Amy Coppola. I'm going to kick us off, and then we'll also have Jamie and Nico sharing some information as well. But basically, what I was just saying, your body responds to signals, not effort. And sleep is the loudest one. When sleep is poor, your body feels unsafe and chooses survival over healing, hormone balance, resilience, and optimal metabolism. As counterintuitive as this feels in this phase of life, it is not about more pushing. It really is about better recovery and honoring our bodies. And so I'll just start out with a little bit more information and background on my story, and maybe you can relate to this because I was just 43 at the time, doing and if you can't see me, I'm doing air quotes, all the right things as far as nutrition and exercising. And of course, I was in a busy season of life. My son, was upper high school at that time. My daughter was in middle school. Life is busy, right? We're moving things around. We're moving humans around. We're, pushing in our careers. We're doing all of these things. And all of a sudden, it felt like my body just began betraying me. And the most frustrating, part of all is even when I'd laid down at night to finally have a few hours of pillow time with my head on the pillow, trying to let my body relax, that almost felt like a war zone because I would lay down, and although I was exhausted and tired, my body was also still wired. And it was very difficult for me to fall asleep. It was very difficult for me to stay asleep. And just in case you're anything like me, I know some people, my older sister grew up saying, like, I need my sleep. Don't bother me if I don't sleep. Count me out. I was the opposite. I never felt like I needed a lot of sleep to thrive. I would often sleep 5 hours a night, wake up, do a really intense fasted 1 hour workout and go about my day. I was a marathon runner. I single mom, with a bustling career. So all of these things I felt like I could do, and I did do for several, almost 2 decades, right? With minimal sleep until it caught up to me. And the way that it started catching up to me was I started having all of these different physical symptoms. And to me, I thought, what is it that's wrong with me? I must need to exercise harder. I must need to eat less. I must need to restrict my fat calories a little bit more. And I started just pushing harder and pushing harder. So I'm here today to tell you that even if that's where you're at right now, we're going to educate you. And once we learn together on why this no longer works and it's not the smartest way to go about your life anymore, I'm excited and hopeful for you that as I experienced when I started really focusing on my sleep, things get so much better. One of the things, and you don't need it, but one of the things that like really helped me in this past year was like investing in an aura ring. Again, that's not something that you need, but once I got the foundations, once I started doing the things that Jamie and Nico are going to share in the next few slides, it was just that next level piece that helped me really evaluate my sleep when I was asleep to see how much I was, getting in REM or deep sleep. But really, what we're here today to talk about is the foundations, because again, I listed some of these out here. But when we are not giving our body that safety signal by giving it the proper rest and recovery, hormones can easily become dysregulated, which is what happened to me. I had this giant spike in cortisol and it throws off. It's not just stress is bad for you. We all know that. But I didn't understand that that has an impact on the other types of hormones, your insulin, your estrogen, your sex hormones, your thyroid. Nervous system stays in fight or flight. Healing, fat loss, and recovery suppress. Inflammation and cravings increase. Anybody else have that afternoon where you just want to go grab the bag of chips? Just me? Okay. It's a real thing that starts to happen when our body is reaching in this survival place, right? Mood, focus, emotional resilience all starts to tank, right? And even your immune function can weaken. So I know that this may be relatable to some of the things that you've experienced or that maybe you're working through now. And so, what we're here to do is teach you just a few simple foundational steps and tips on how that you can really step into a different season of life, feeling rested, restored, and giving your body the proper recovery in order for you to thrive. Jamie, I will pass it. Is it to you or to Nico's next? Nico?
It's me, and I actually had to unmute myself. That's important. Otherwise, that would have been a lot of napping.
No.
And I'm sure many of us can relate, right, Amy, to what you shared. Like, and we always think it's more, that we have to be doing more. And sometimes like that's really just not the answer, right? So I know we're talking about sleep, how it's the master hormone switch. And as we talk about this, I kind of want you to think about reframing sleep from something that's nice to have to foundational, right? And you mentioned that it's foundational for our health, our overall wellness, and therefore worth prioritizing and protecting. Sleep isn't just passive rest, it's actually active hormone regulation, right? When our sleep is off, everything downstream feels harder. Like we've all experienced that. Energy, cravings, moods, stubborn weight, stress tolerance. It's harder when our sleep is off. So sleep is the switch that tells our hormones whether it's safe to repair or whether they need to stay in survival mode. So sleep, I don't know about you, but I do look forward to sleep every night, except I have had times where I didn't, right? Who has woken up at 2 a.m., 3 a.m., and you lay there and you're like, I'm exhausted. What is happening to me? Right? This is blood sugar. Quite often we think that it's about stress or hormones being broken because maybe we're perimenopausal now and this is our new normal. But very often this is actually a blood sugar issue. When our blood sugar drops low overnight, our body senses a threat. And our body's job is not to keep us asleep. Our body's job is to keep us alive. So when the body senses this threat, it releases cortisol and adrenaline. This is actually an intelligent survival response that also happens to be extremely disruptive. So why? Maybe you need to know why, like me, right? Our brain runs on glucose. It can't store it, so it needs a steady supply to do the work that keeps us alive, keeping our heart beating and our lungs breathing, right? So when the brain senses low energy, it sends a signal to raise blood sugar so it can now protect survival. Cortisol and adrenaline are our blood sugar raising hormones. They signal the liver to release sugar into the bloodstream now. The body does not panic, it actually just responds. So this causes our waking between 2 and 4 a.m., racing thoughts because adrenaline is alertness, right? Night sweats, the inability to fall back to sleep. So this can easily become a loop that we get stuck in. Poor sleep raises blood sugar and stress hormones the next day. That increases our cravings. Again, it's not a willpower thing. Cravings can be a hormonal thing. So energy crashes, irritability, and that makes blood sugar even harder to regulate the following night. So supporting blood sugar during the day with enough food, enough protein, fiber is one of the most powerful ways to support deeper, more restorative sleep at night. And Jamie's definitely going to talk more about that. But while we're talking about sleep and hormones, of course, we need to mention our circadian rhythm, right? This is our body's internal clock. It tells our hormones when to turn on and when to turn off. Therefore, when our circadian rhythm is real quick, because there are three of the hormones that follow a circadian rhythm. Their release depends on timing, light, and our sleep-wake cues. Cortisol is meant to rise in the morning. We know that to help us feel alert, get going. Melatonin is meant to rise in the evening to help us feel sleepy. And growth hormone is released shortly after we fall asleep to support repair, muscle, metabolism, and recovery. So circadian mistiming happens when those signals get blurred, right? Not because we're broken, it's because our environment is sending mixed signals. So I want you to hear that. Our environment is sending mixed signals. That means that we have some control there, right? So if we're making choices that support our melatonin being delayed, the body doesn't get the clear signal that it's safe to fully shift into that repair mode, right? To fully get into a restorative sleep. And when sleep is delayed or shallow, that growth hormone release is reduced because it's primarily released during sleep earlier in the night. So even if we're in bed long enough, our body may miss the best window for repair, recovery, metabolic support, and hormone balance. So it's not just how long we sleep, it's whether this cascade of hormone activation takes place and when it does, right? When our circadian rhythm is mistimed, our body doesn't only lose its sense of time, it loses its sense of safety. And this is how our nervous system can get stuck in the on mode. So our nervous system has two main modes, right? The sympathetic system, which is fight or flight, and parasympathetic, which is rest, digest, and repair. So sleep requires a parasympathetic dominance, obviously, rest, right? And we don't fall asleep. We don't fall into like a deep, restorative, good for a sleep because we're exhausted. That happens because our nervous system feels safe enough to get there, right? And chronic stress, right? If we're not managing our stress, if we're under eating and under fueling, if we're over exercising, if we're staying up really late at night, our body stays on this high alert with high cortisol. And even if we want to sleep, our body may not feel safe enough to let go because we can't be in both fight and rest mode. Cortisol is a much needed hormone, right? We hear about it, it's everywhere right now, and we shouldn't be afraid. Though in a season where of life where it's constantly high, rest, repair, and digestion take a back seat. And this season of sleep deprivation can trigger domino effects of health damage throughout our body if not addressed. And this is information, and it's not to scare, right? This should ignite us to take action because even some small action done consistently can have a really big impact. Sleep isn't something we need to fix, it's something we need to support. I'm muted. Whoops, sorry. Sleep isn't something we need to fix. It's just something we need to support. And Jamie's here to give us some tips on how to do that.
Did we lose Jamie?
I was just, I thought it was
I'm
my
like,
computer frozen for a second. I'm like, Bueller?
I'm looking. I'm looking.
I looked too. I didn't see her.
Up there she
Okay,
is.
I got kicked off. Sorry. Am I back?
You're back.
You are back. We can't hear you
Okay. Did you
fantastic.
did you guys switch it to me yet? Because it kicked me off right as Nico was, Nico was talking.
Yeah, we
Am
hear
I
you
on?
now. Yes.
Okay. I'm sorry, guys. I'm trying to make this work today because I am really excited for what I get to talk about. Because as Nico was talking about all the different things that can affect it, I get to tell you little hacks in between there and things you can stop right now. So one really easy right there at the top is stop eating close to bedtime. Immediately right there, we don't want to fire your body up to have to, process all of this fuel you put in there. We want it to be going into rest and digest. Late workouts. And I'll add another one on there because I love to talk about lymphatic massage. But it's very similar to late workouts that if you did that at night, it would wake you up because it's stimulating the body, start moving those lymph nodes, and that tells your brain again, oh, let's move around and wake up. Bright light at night. An easy swap here is about 2 hours before bedtime, dim all the lights in your house. That's going to start to set the stage for your body to bring back down that, to feel safe. No phone 1 hour before bed. So as Nico was talking about our circadian rhythms, the reason that gets off is because there is so many things coming at us now in this current day and age that are blocking our melatonin production. And as the day goes on, we want it to start low and gradually rise throughout the day as our cortisol decreases throughout the day. So they go in opposite ways. But things like blue light and staring at our phone, that is blocking our melatonin production. So something as simple as adding in blue light glasses when you're staring at your computer all day, when you're staring at your phone, that's an easy swap. Also, this was hard for me at first, to take the phone away and put it out of the room, or at least across the room. Read a book before bed. Stop caffeine now. I want you guys to go backwards in your heads and ask yourselves, when is the last cup of coffee, Kaylee, no, I'm just kidding, that you're having for the day? And is that 6 hours before bedtime? And I'm just ragging on Kaylee because I know she loves her coffee. But I am very, very affected by caffeine. So I know for me, I cannot have it past about 11, in the morning. Otherwise, even if I feel tired, the minute I get in bed, my brain starts racing. Drinking alcohol right up until the time when you go to bed, that's going to affect your HRV significantly. And that, what HRV is, and anybody who wears an Oura ring, we're all obsessed with it, how often your heart beats at night. And everyone's got different. I can have a couple drinks earlier in the night, and then as long as I have a lot of water and electrolyte, I'm fine. If I have that wine closer to bed, my HRV, and my heart rate goes up, my HRV drops. So I want to go over to the focus things, because I do want to talk about things you probably have not heard before. Well, we know this. Sunlight as early in the day as possible to set that circadian rhythm. It tells your brain, okay, this is wake up time, but not with sunglasses on. We want to stabilize our blood sugar throughout the day, having that protein and fiber first in a meal and the carbs at the end of the meal. A consistent bedtime. And I know this is hard for some people, because if they have to get up really early for work during the week, they want to stay up later and get up later on the weekend, but that really can do more harm than good. A nervous system downshift routine. I know Kaylee loves to teach where the legs up on the wall, and I love doing that as well. Just put your butt against the wall, put your legs up in the air, deep breathe for 5 minutes, and get all that lymphatic drainage going. Focus on increasing your melatonin naturally. This could be with tart cherry juice in your bedtime. This could be by wearing blue light glasses. But now I want to talk about a couple supplements that to me are crucial for myself during the day to add up to that good sleep routine, and not something you take right before bed to make yourself drowsy. That's not what I'm talking about. And the two most important things that I take for myself every day that I believe in is electrolytes, meaning healthy sodium, and forms of magnesium. And for me, I believe in 2 different forms of magnesium contributing to your sleep, even though one of them I take first thing in the morning, my magnesium citrate and my hydrate detox, because we don't want to be estrogen dominant. And that's going to help our detox systems, going to the bathroom, because that estrogen dominance can also affect your sleep quality. Now, sodium, that's probably not something you've heard talked about, but to me, sodium and electrolytes are crucial for good sleep, because that helps to regulate your cortisol. But I feel like we hear magnesium all the time, which is another powerhouse one, but it has to be in combination with that good form of sodium, so that we're pumping all that stuff through your body, and we're moving everything to your organs and moving that cortisol out, moving that excess estrogen out. So magnesium glycinate, magnesium citrate, and electrolytes. And it's been interesting. Some nights I will do a hydrate detox, with the electrolytes right before bed. My HRV always goes way up. And my body was craving that sodium. So you could take a pinch of Celtic sea salt, put it in water alongside your magnesium glycinate. You could put a little bit under your tongue. All of these, just ways to help your body get that really good form of sodium to keep pumping. All right, so now we went through those. The next slide, we're going to talk to you guys about what we're doing next week, because we gave you guys a very brief overview of, little tips you can do throughout the day, but we wanted to go more intense and do a 3-day deep dive into some of these things we've briefly touched on. So day 1, focus on blood sugar and nighttime cortisol, how that affects what you can do throughout the day, how you can support yourself. Because we want fewer wake ups. Clearly, that's the goal. We don't want to wake up at 3 a.m. and think about everything in our life. Day 2, we're focusing on circadian rhythm, light meals, how workouts affect that, bedtime, why healthy, but late still hurts your sleep. And then on day 3, we're going to focus on downshifting that nervous system to make you feel safe before bed, and how you can signal that to your body throughout the day. So you have periods throughout the day where your cortisol has come down and it didn't stay up all day, because we want you guys to see that the more your blood sugar spikes. The higher your cortisol is up throughout the day, that's directly impacting your sleep. So let's not just focus on what are we doing that hour before bed, but what are we doing throughout the entire day? It's little things that have been adding up to contribute to our poor sleep. So that's all we got for you. We were trying to make it nice and quick and fun, and we really hope to see you in our 3-day group that starts Monday. It is a free group, a free value group. So yeah, we hope you take this call and invite all your friends to join us.
All right. Thank you so much, Jamie and Nico. We really appreciate all the tips. And we hope you guys all found at least something that you can start implementing already today. So at least cut off that coffee, caffeine, no more after this call. If you already have haven't already thought of something else. But we look forward to seeing you in the group and talking more in depth about these. And thank you again for joining us today. Thank you, Nico and Jamie. Appreciate it.